for Educational Development and Head of Education Technology Development and Integration Support at King Mongkut University of Technology, Thonburi. Dr. Klangjai has played a crucial role in starting programs like the KMUTT micro-credential system at forlifelonglearning.org. Her team has won many awards for their creative ways to focus on education results under her guidance. Please join us in welcoming Dr. Klangjai Sithitavorn as she shared her insights on leading big with something small, the micro-credential advantage. Please welcome.
Good morning. Thank you for having me here. And well, I put my little lucky cats here, just to make sure that I'm lucky today. So if anything's go wrong, put your finger crossed. I would start the session with the word saying it's not about the money. I'm saying that assuming that none of us here join a university wanting to be a millionaire. And putting aside that we're not going to be rich apart, we all get paid to do this, to nurture someone, to make sure that they are succeed, to pay it forward. If you try to imagine the work we do in a university, we are doing that in such a protected environment. The environment that we know how and we think it's best for our learner. We're doing so spending, to be exact, 4 years, fostering that fundamental skill and the knowledge application, preparing someone for a job. But you know what? We have a big assumption that that job is going to exist when they graduated. When you look at this side of the world, obviously it's the world where getting rich is everything. A lot of people call it freedom, but let's call it money. This is the place that business needs job-specific competency. They need someone who will be able to do that specific job, solving the specific problems. And they want to do it now. The immediate order skill have to be dynamic, changing rapidly. If you put the two worlds side by side, you realize that we have these two vastly different systems. And believe me, I've been staring at this picture longer than anyone else in this room. On our left here, we have the pursuit of knowledge. On the right, we have the pursuit of profit. On the left, we have this stable structure, a stability of job for us to work on, do it when you can, slowly. On the other side, we have this pressing return on investment. I'm trying to put these two together because deep inside my heart, I know that they need to be connected. If you look at this picture and try to, imagine with me how these two are connected, you will see that it's not much. The reason why I'm saying that is because the majority of us still have this grand product. I call it a 4-year degree. And I use an Eiffel Tower to represent it because it's so grand and beautiful. From another perspective, it is also very, very hard to change. If I tell you today that, please, go make this Eiffel Tower with a wing on it, it's almost impossible to bend. If you put it in another analogy, we offer this whole 4-year degree in a big box of Danish cookie. Anyone like Danish cookies? I do. But I like this special one with these chocolate chips inside. You know, sometimes our learner, they just want that particular piece of skill development just to do something. But they don't have a choice. No matter what, they have to buy the whole box. A lot of us in higher education, we're still relying on this system. It's the system of industrial age education, looking at learner like, something they use in production line. Imagine this is like an engineering degree. There's a group of engineering students come in. At the end of the term, we make them do exam. If they can't pass the criteria, then they have to get out. If they pass, they go up. Imagine by the end of 4 years, when you have an engineering graduate with the, say, a 60 out of 100% pass. Would you rather build a house with him? I give you another example. This is like a competency of a commercial pilot. A commercial pilot needs to have the knowledge, the technical skill, navigation skill, communication, and also they have to know the safety regulation. If we put them through traditional assessment system, let's say we ask them to do a test and it's like 5 questions. I bet none of you would want to fly with Mr. Purple Pilot. Do you know why? Because he got the communication 1 and 2. But both of them will have an average GPA, the same. The total score is exactly the same. So we need to rethink about the way we summarize all the score, put in the GPA, and also, give the value to grade and score in higher education. Because our learner, and you and me, we are more than a grade score. And I'm also not sure if grades really reflect the true ability of people. For a lot of people, a 4-year degree can be too long and also too expensive. And for the majority of learners who are lacking the skill, like Thailand, for example, they are too exclusive. I draw this picture, with my team because I'm trying to represent the frustration I have with the skill that's popping up. I asked them to draw a balloon machine from my imagination, and the balloon machine is driven by the power of AI, robotics, automation, and all the disruptive technology. No one have any idea what it's going to be in the next few years. The balloons come up, in the next second it's pop. I still spend a lot of time trying to train my team doing data analytics when the AI came. And I tell them, okay, no data analytics, let's do AI. So, you can't know what's going to happen. And the future of job is so unpredictable. And all of this thing about not so sure what the true ability is boiled down to this person, is the HR manager. HR manager, in the bad position because they have no idea how to verify a skill. So if they don't know if the credential that we give to them can tell about true ability, the hiring pipeline can be very small and also painful. And when the skill changing rapidly, it means that majority of people, let's say 80% of people can't do the job. They don't have the right skill to do the job. And the rest of them we call talent. When the talent are only a handful of people who can do the job, they have a lot of choice. So there's high turnover happening. Firing someone and cannot find anyone else to work for a company, and also have to try to keep them happy and retain them in a company is bad enough. But bad hire, meaning hiring someone you do not want or hiring someone who can't do the job, is plain very bad. With all of that, issue we talked about in the last few slides, in the middle of the bridge here, we are still doing the same thing. Majority of university build a bridge, but just halfway, hoping that our graduate would jump, go, do it yourself, climbing up on the other side of the world. I do think that this have to change. We have to do something. A revolutionized technology like MOOCs that we just talked about, micro-credential, online learning, something can come help this fill the gap. And also keep asking the big questions. As an educator, how do we actually know if we're doing our job right? We might in the right job, but we might not doing our job right. And to simplify that question, you can basically ask yourself, are you preparing your graduate for future? Are they future ready? Preparing them for the job that do not exist. It sounds like a very daunting task. I represent this so complex problem with this big furballs. But please don't be discouraged. I think every one of us in this room can start by focusing on this one thing, which is guarantee that learning outcome. And if you want the learning outcome to be able to align to the demand of the industry, you have to make sure that the learning outcome is demand-driven and also job-specific. So this is a very simple idea that we come up with when we try to do micro-credential. To be honest, I'm trying to look for the karate guy, but all I found is the taekwondo. So micro-credential is the credential that we give the learner in exchange, with their ability. They have to show us what they can, like, the taekwondo. And when we show they can do this, we give them the credential, which is the digital badge. And we do micro-credential with this belief that the true predictor of how someone will be able to work is the work sample. If you want to hire, let's say, a developer, you want to see their code. If you want to hire a chef, you want to see the food. Simple as that. And you want learning and also micro-credential to be able to stack on top of each other. Because skill, changing rapidly, so you should be able to use modular-based design to disassemble and assemble things again and again. And we want micro-credential to capture the evidence of work sample in form of digital. So education can be accessible for anyone. And we also can use the benefit of digital badge, like blockchain technology, to keep it safe. At the university, we do micro-credential focusing on the DAS level. The reason being because the DAS level is the place where we can see the evidence of work sample as close as possible to the real-world work sample. But don't get me wrong, we're still doing everything, on the baseline below that. But not everything in the university have to be turned into a micro-credential. A micro-credential, if it would work, would need a very good ecosystem. An ecosystem consists of earner, issuer like us, educator, assessor, and instructor. and also recognizer. Someone who would recognize that piece of digital badge. Someone who gives the value of it and make it useful for real in our society. So if you ask me from 6 years of micro-credential experience at KMUTT, how was it? I would say it was fun. We started off micro-credential during COVID-19. We worked with Digital Promise from the USA, and we adopt the framework and also try to come up with our own and adapt it to the local context. We design micro-credential framework, we pilot with Digital Promise, and we also run endless round of user research and discover many insights about Thai learner, about what we need, about what doesn't work, and what would work. Well, hopefully it will work. We found out a lot of things about assessor training, about how we should make sure that micro-credential is credible, how to make sure that the educator understand outcome-based education enough to design micro-credential right. And we also found out a lot of problem and issue, which is like the baseline of education problem along the way, like how educators have a hard time writing, articulating a learning outcome, or some of them having a hard time writing a performance rubrics. The micro-credential that designed based on this framework was put on the platform called forlifelonglearning.org. And its collection, like a big collection of micro-credential. We also been working with a lot of stackable micro-credential, highlighting the skill needed in our country. This one here is aligned with the initiate of Thailand PSF, for example. This is the example of micro-credential of the pilot we talk about. So, it's fun to think about what you're going to make your learner, do in terms of competency. And also working with the industry about what it is that is the real work sample that would represent the milestone of performance of that person. Along the way, we also have been studying the behavior expectation of our earner and learner. How do they feel about micro-credential? A lot of them saying that micro-credential is for serious learner. So if you want to learn, just watch YouTube and you think you're learning, it's not really micro-credential. For micro-credential, we need to verify the skill. So the learner have to put in the effort. They have to be willing to submit the evidence. And the evidence have to be checked across this very transparent standard. A micro-credential can be verified since it's digital. You can trace back to who is the issuer and for what work sample that we granted this micro-credential, and also shareable on social network so the learner can use it to build their professional profile. So, doing micro-credential and working on it with a lot of our partners, internationally and also in Thailand, if you ask me the question, are we ready? My simple answer would be no. But we discover a lot of very important and beautiful things along the way. We get to work with the teacher to make sure they understand outcome-based education and know that whenever they design a learning outcome, they have to have the evidence in mind, what it is they want to measure, and also explore the opportunity to be very practical about competency development. We also hope to work with a lot of recognizers to use micro-credential as the mean and tools for hiring, performance evaluation, even competency development, as a guideline for collaborate training. And last but not least, we want micro-credential to be a representative of us with the willingness to help our learner So we no longer have to judge anyone by just the GPA anymore. And when the day comes, our learner will have a choice, and a university will be a place that we can welcome learners of all ages again and again. I hope you can join the force of micro-credential. We have micro-credential for issuer offering in our platform, and you can go check out the information I talk about today at forlifelonglearning.kbudt.ac.th. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ajahn Klangjai. You never disappoint me. Every time I listen to you, I learn a lot and get inspired.